Crossing the United States to his native South Africa, Nolan continues to push barriers and inspire people to inspire themselves. And you could be next. Join Nolan's 7-day online groundbreaking program called Obstacles Make Me Stronger, aimed at teaching you how to overcome any obstacles you may face. Break barriers, be innovative, and take control of your life. For more information, check out Obstacles Make Me Stronger, now on Udemy.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to Inspirational Journeys Through Life with Straight Talk with Nolan. My name is Nolan Pillay, and I am your host. Today, it's an absolute privilege and honor to welcome Tracy Ferrin to our call, to our show, basically. So Tracy Ferrin is the best-selling author of Up Struggle, a motivational speaker, content creator, the host of Rock Your Kindness podcast that is presented by Love What Matters, and a proud cancer thriver. She across all platforms, she has over 670,000 followers, with TikTok being her largest. She uses her platforms to have fun, be a real model, and give back. With the help of her TikTok community, she raised over 40,000 for a Wendy's employee and 90,000 for a man who needed heart surgery. She is also the creator of #WishListWipeout. Tracy is married to her best friend Ryan, and together they have 4 children and 1 grandchild as well. They live in Houston, Texas, and that's what she calls home. Once again, Tracy, welcome to Inspirational Journeys Through Life with Straight Talk with Nolan. It's so good to have you on our show today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Cool. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself in about 2 minutes or so, just so that the audience knows a bit more about you?
Oh, goodness. I think you almost summed it up. I always start with, I'm a mom of 4 kids. I was a young mom and went through my cancer journey. That's what my book Up Struggle is about. It's about, I share my cancer journey, but in every chapter I share all my struggles that I have gone through, along with tangible tips and tools. And I mean, I don't know, you summed it up. I've got 2 dogs, 2 cats, love to work out, love personal development, love listening to podcasts, but yeah.
So, I love your bubbly personality as well, Tracy, because you're a cancer survivor, and look at the amount of energy you have, right? There's so many people out there that are going through the cancer process at this moment. And of course, because of cancer, your energy levels drop, etc., with the treatment that you're receiving, etc. I'm sure a lot of people could do with, your bubbly personality and just you being in front of them all the time, so that it can be some pickup moment for them. So,
yeah, well, thank you.
Sorry, carry on.
No, I wasn't always that way. And you're totally right. When you are in the thick of it and sick and chemo or radiation and surgery, you feel absolutely horrible. And as terrible and as hard as that experience was, I am grateful for it on so many levels because of what I learned from it, what I took from it, the growth that came from it. And I really believe that you need contrast in your life. You're right. It's hard to really appreciate the good without knowing the bad. Yeah. And so it's the absolute hardest thing I've ever been through, but so much good came from it at the same time.
Wow. Well, we're grateful that you are here with us. We're grateful that you pushed through. And we're also grateful that you're helping other people, millions of people out there, by just sharing your story and Up Struggle as well, so that people can relate and resonate with it as well. A lot of people, once they see someone else has been through a journey like what you've been on, it becomes so much more easier for them to say, well, Tracy's been through it. Let me understand what she's been through and use that as an inspiration or motivation to get better as well. So I'm really grateful to have you on the show and, to share a bit more with our audience. And I know you've been up to a lot, right? You got something called Rock Your Kindness. Now, it's such an amazing title, Rock Your Kindness, because if every single one of us can learn and understand how to be kind to another human, what a beautiful world we live in, right? So how did you come up with this title in the first place?
Well, I think it goes all the way back to TikTok. And you talked a little bit about that. During the pandemic, I think most people joined TikTok because there was nothing to do. Everything closed down. We're sitting at our homes like, what do I do? So I got on, and because I'm not new to social media, I was able to grow my platform because I knew, if I just add value in a different way, that will resonate with people. And so I did. So instantly started growing my platform right away. And I'm all about, like I said, adding value into people's lives. And one day I recorded this guy, Eric, at Wendy's, because he was full of so much light and joy. And normally you don't get that type of energy from fast food workers. And so I was taken back by it. And I promise I'm not the like weird lady who just randomly records strangers. That's so not me. But something in me said, record him. And I fought it. As my husband's ordering, I'm like, no, that's weird. Don't be that person. No, you need to record him. And so it's like this internal dialogue going back and forth. Record him. No, that's weird. Record him. So I just said, forget it. I'll record him. I'll record him. So we get up to the window, and he knew I was recording him. It was very obvious I was recording him. And I literally recorded like a 27-second video, because he just had so much joy, and I wanted to share that on Facebook. Shared it, it resonated a little bit. And then it wasn't until months later that I was like, the thought came to me, you should share that clip on here and just put like, choose joy. Like a very simple, I threw it up, didn't think a whole lot about it. And I went to bed, and I wake up the next morning, and it went crazy. Wow. And there is something over there called the Venmo challenge. And usually, it's, you raise money and you tip someone, or you give a homeless person, $500 or whatever. And people were telling me to do the Venmo challenge for him, not because he was sick, not because he needed it, not because anything in that light, simply because of his joy. And when I tell this story, I always tell people, be careful, because people are watching. Not that just from you being happy and bubbly and joyful are you going to be given $40,000, but it does pay off to be a light in the world. And so I said, okay, everyone wanted to do it. And in 1 week we raised, it was actually over $40,000, because people would not stop donating. I had to tell people, y'all, you got to stop. We can't continue to raise money for this man. So it was like a little over $41,000 that he ended up getting. And then I just, through doing stuff like that, I knew I needed to create a hashtag that kind of represented what me and my community was doing, because I alone could not raise $40,000, right? It was a community effort. And I just decided, like, rock your kindness. It just kind of came to me, rock your kindness. I felt like this was one way me and my community were showing kindness. I didn't want it to just be like kindness or I was just like, or rock kindness. I was just trying to think of it. So that's how it came. And then we went on as a community to do the, raise $90,000 for a guy who needed heart surgery, because he had heart problems, he couldn't work. And because he couldn't work, he didn't have insurance, right? So it's like this cycle. And I totally get that, because I've had so many health issues in the past. And my community wanted to do it. So in 1 week, we raised $90,000 for him. He did get his heart surgery, and he is a father of 2 kids, living his life, being able to be a dad. And we went on to do like the wish list wipeout and smaller things and stuff like that. So that's really where it came from. And Rock Your Kindness, what I love about it is even the podcast highlights, I truly believe that we all show up in our own unique way. You do it through all the things that you do. And we show and spread kindness, and it's unique to who we are. And so on the show, it's like, everyone's just so different, and unique. Wow. And that's what we share. So that's really the backstory behind the name.
That's beautiful. And I like that you mentioned that everyone shows up differently, right? Because we are such what can I say? You just being humans alone, right? We have so much within us, and unfortunately, humans can at times be nasty. Sometimes they can be good. And whenever there's like a sporting event, for example, you find all these humans come together. COVID was a typical example, right? Everybody was united and working together. Neighbors were buying groceries for each other. People that were sick, they were helping. And then COVID started slowing down, and we went back to our bad habits already. So how do you think we maintain or sustain our kindness, or just sustain being a good person? It's not that difficult at all, right?
No, well, I believe that kindness is a skill. And what's the opposite? Being a mean person? It's a choice. Learning any skill is a choice. And thankfully, it is a choice to be kind. And like any skill, the more you do it, the better you get. And then the better you get, it just becomes who you are. You don't even have to think about it because it is so ingrained in who you are that now that is your autopilot, right? That becomes your default. So it does take practice and time, like anything else. Not everyone is just naturally nice. I am human. And even though I talk about this, I have moments where I have to catch myself and be like, that's probably not kind. I probably should not do or say that. So nobody's perfect at it, but you can be great at it by understanding that it's a skill and it's a choice to choose it.
Absolutely. And I like what you said. It really is a choice and it must become a habit. Being a good person, I mean, habits, we can just practice it every single day until it becomes ingrained in us and it just becomes a natural thing. Like the guy working in the store at Wendy's, I mean, they automatically become so nice towards the people that come to buy goods from there. And all it takes is for us to be nice in return. Not many people do that, Tracy. Not many people are nice to the cashiers as well. So I'm glad you did the video, and I'm glad it went viral as well, because look at what has erupted from it as well. I know with Rock Your Kindness, you're sponsored by Love What Matters as well, right? So tell the audience a bit more about who Love What Matters really is. Who are they?
Yeah, so Love What Matters has been around for about 7 years, and they are a storytelling platform focused on overcoming obstacles, on empathy and hope. They have, across all their platforms, they have over 8 million followers, and they reach about 40 million people each month with their stories that they share. And so I was a writer for them, and that's kind of my connection with it. Is for the last several years I've been writing stories for them. So yeah, they're great. I love what they stand for. And one thing that I love so much that they do is they really are they truly are focused on overcoming obstacles, and I'm so much in alignment with that. And I love that the stories they share, they're hard. Like Nolan, some of these stories are so hard to read, but there's always like a light at the end of the tunnel, right? There was always a pivotal moment. These people did not develop victim mindsets. They took their hard and they became better for it, and they helped serve other people for it and started nonprofits and all these crazy things. And so I love that what they're showing is, yeah, we're all human. We're all going to struggle. We're all going to have pain and go through hard things. Like, you're no different. You're no special. We all do it. But what sets us apart and makes us different is how we respond to those struggles. Do we become the victim and have a victim mindset? Or do we let it empower us? And so I can totally link arms to that. And that's what they're about. And I love it.
Wow. I like that. And it so resonates with me personally as well, Tracy, because I come from that type of a background and actually wrote a program about it called Obstacles Make Me Stronger. And the beauty of what you just said now is people need to realize that obstacles can make you stronger. Only if you see that there is some learning in that obstacle, right? And some growing that can come out from it. A lot of people just see an obstacle as a showstopper, as a negative, and they don't know how to move forward. But of course, we got to teach them, right? We got to kind of give them the skill on how they can deal with it as well. So I like what Love What Matters is actually doing. That's amazing. So I'll definitely check them out as well and learn more about them and follow them as well.
Yeah. And I love what you said. And just like being kind is a skill, the mindset, it's truly what you just said about, some people let obstacles stop them and some people let it make them better. Again, it's a choice.
True.
That's a choice that we can all make.
And I think it's also people don't realize they do have another choice. They think there's no other choice, right? And that's why they stay stagnant as well. So it's a learned thing. It's just a mindset shift that people need to engage with or just need to tweak into, and they can get it. When we talk about kindness as well, there's so many good things about kindness, just being kind. What are the benefits, in your opinion, about kindness?
Yeah, so I think it's important to understand that kindness is rooted from love, right? So it comes from love. We already talked about that it's a skill. Anyone can learn it, and it's contagious. If you think about, all those cute videos that float across social media where the girl drops her jacket, the guy picks it up, somebody saw it, he holds the door for a lady, that lady goes on to, it's a domino effect, right? Yeah. So it is so much contagious. But it also, there's a lot of things that it does physically for us. So it increases and produces oxytocin, which is the love hormone, which has been known to improve overall heart health. So it's funny, kindness is stemmed from love. And when we're kind, it can actually improve our heart health. Wow, right? Coincidence? I don't know. I don't know that I believe in coincidence. And there's a study out there that shows that kind people live longer. What? Like what? So kind people live longer. They have more energy. They tend to be happier. And then it also helps to decrease pain, right? Which we all have dealt with physical pain from time to time. I have with my cancer and my surgery. It helps decrease stress, anxiety, depression, blood pressure, which we also know can lead to heart disease. So it's like, wow, all from something that is a skill that is actually free. It's amazing.
True. And the fact that you can live longer, you can have like a healthy heart, right? Especially in today's day and age as well. There's so many people that are having heart issues and stuff, and they wonder why they're having these heart issues, right? And you're right. It all comes with just being a good person, really. And if there's so many benefits to living longer, having a healthy heart, why not do it? It's free, like you said, right? There's no cost to it. No cost to being a good person.
Absolutely. If you want to talk about, yes, can you buy the coffee for the person behind you? Absolutely, $5. Can you buy the meal for the person behind you? That's money, right? Yeah. And so I always want to call out like the people who say, well, I don't have money to be, I can't do those things. That's okay. Can you compliment? I don't think compliments cost anything. Can you smile? Last time I checked, smiling doesn't cost anything. Can you hold the door for somebody? That doesn't cost anything. And so it's in those small, simple, everyday moments. But I also believe what it takes us stepping outside of ourselves, outside of our own head, and actually seeing people around us, noticing them to do these things. Because I'm guilty too. Hey, I got my to-do list. I got my checklist. I just want to go to the grocery store, run this errand, run that errand so I can get home. But if we just slow down for a second, we can do those things. And not only do we feel good, but the person we did it for feels good.
I love that. And that has a ripple effect. You make someone else feel good, they make somebody else feel good, and it just carries on, and everybody has a beautiful day. And it just contributes from there as well. So to everyone listening, it costs nothing to be kind to another soul. I know a lot of people, and Tracy, you said it as well, when a person is rushing around just going to do their cause and come back, because you're in such a haste to get your things done, you tend to ignore saying thank you to the person that rang up all your stuff and that you paid to. So it costs nothing to really do that. So be aware of your environment and be aware of what you're actually doing. It really does cost nothing. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. And those are good tips about kindness as well.
Yeah.
So tell me now, why is your podcast so special? Tell us.
Oh my goodness. So many reasons. We really highlight extraordinary stories of everyday people. These are just everyday people showing up in this world, rocking their own unique kindness. And it's kind of like a kindness revolution, right? It was so much that has gone on, especially with 2020 and everything that was shoved down our throats, and you couldn't turn on the radio or the news without fear, people trying to drive fear into us. I really think that people were over it. And I think people are wanting good. They want to hear these stories. They want to be uplifted. They want to be inspired. And so this is just an extension of what Love What Matters has already been doing for 20 years on, Facebook and from their website. We're just expanding it now to podcasts, which a lot of people listen to. And so it's like, if you want to turn, for me, I don't like to watch the news. I don't read books that are filled with drama, pull me down. I don't listen to podcasts that make me feel bad when I'm done listening to them. And so I think starting your day off with a good uplifting podcast, it really can set your tone for the day, you know? And so I just, it really is such a special podcast. We bring on so many different people. Yeah, these people have cashed in their 401ks and started nonprofits. They have adopted. These are big things, but also we've had people on where one lady, you know, was at a grocery store and they were just really nice to her and stuff, and it was pivotal. So we talk about the big things and the smaller things as well. Yeah.
And I guess it's the most appropriate time now, right? When we came out from everything that we've been through. And you're so right when you say that the news is really negative. I also don't watch the news. I only follow positive stuff as much as possible. But, you know, being human and being on social media, the negative stuff will always be there. You just need to learn how to sift through it or move away from the negative and just focus on the positive news as well. So absolutely. How would you encourage someone to watch your podcast? How would you encourage them to say, you know what, follow my podcast, follow Rock Your Kindness?
I think just like what we just said was, if you're tired of all the negativity, of course it exists everywhere. I am not naive. I know it's out there, but I'm just a big believer that what you focus on grows, what you focus on expands. So if we focus on the negative news, social media, all the negative, that is going to become your world. Again, this is a choice. It doesn't mean we're naive, but you are choosing to focus on that. And that is going to fill your soul, which is just going to be a miserable life. I can tell you right now, I've been there. It's going to lead you to misery. Or you can choose to follow podcasts like Rock Your Kindness and other ones that are trying so hard to put light out into the world that is going to leave you feeling good and thinking about how you can be kinder, not just to others, but to yourself. Because I truly believe that kindness starts with yourself, because you can't give what you don't have. It's like you asking me for $10 and I try to give you $10 from my bank account that has zero. I cannot give you what I don't have. So it does start with self. And I am on these stories, I am starting to kind of dive into a little bit of kindness for self, because I think that's really important. So I would just say, even if you're not struggling, even if you just love good, uplifting, inspiring podcasts and you just want to add this to your other podcasts, the thing that makes us different is we tell stories. So it's through storytelling. And I think people really resonate with storytelling, because it's really through storytelling that you can really get your message across. If you and I were just to sit here and talk about all the facts, all the numbers, that would probably make for one really boring podcast, right? But we are kind of diving in, telling bits and parts of stories here and there, and that people's brains can really wrap around that. You know, I think we think, oh, when we were little, we loved having books read to us. I remember sitting in the library on the floor in like second grade and the teachers reading us books. Well, as adults, we still like to hear stories. They're just a little different, right?
And you're right? People want to see real stories because a lot of people think that they've got a bad deal in life, but they don't realize there's so many people that also had a bad deal in life and still will go through bad deals in life, like obstacles, right? The difference is we know how to overcome them. We both have been through our journeys and we know how we've come through it. A lot of people don't know how to, and when they listen to podcasts like yours, then they realize that, wow, there's so many people that you've interviewed personally, Tracy, that have been through whatever challenges they've been through. This can help the others to come out from it.
Absolutely.
Do you see a trend in more people getting involved in positive news in this, well, in the last year and a half? Do you see that as well?
Yes, absolutely. I really think it was 2020 and the pandemic and everything, because the pandemic, we went through that together, the entire world. That did not just affect one country. That was something that we all went through to, different levels and stuff like that. And I actually did an interview with some lady. It was a written article. And we were talking about it, and she actually said the same thing, that they're noticing that positive stories are starting to perform so much better, and that people are craving them more than the negativity. Plus, I have seen, of course, Love What Matters. They've been around for 7 years. So I think Colin, the founder, was ahead of the game. I think he's one from what I know. I don't want to put false information, but I have been on social media for a really long time. And from what I have seen, he was one of the first people, not saying but one of the first people to start a positive platform that pushed positive stories. I mean, hard for sure, but have a positive ending and stuff. And there are so many more now on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. You're starting to see so much more of it, and they do really well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's true. And you're right. People have, the mindset is changing slowly. I guess people are sick and tired of all the negative garbage out there as well.
And you'll know when we really cross a threshold, when either the news is no longer able to run because nobody's supporting it, or they catch on and they realize, oh, we need to start sharing more positive stories because we're not doing as well as we used to.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we need to get to that point because we need to, of course, negativity will always be there, but it shouldn't be more than the positive stuff out there. Because now media just puts fear into people. That fear just erupts and erupts and erupts, and it just stagnates people, and people don't want to look for anything positive anymore. But I'm glad that in the last, or since COVID, there is a change. I also see the change as well in our country and in Africa as well. Amidst all these challenges we go through, there are still so many people that want something positive out of it.
Yes, absolutely. It just feels better.
It does feel better, right? Yeah, you feel better as a person. It's part of your self-love, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm sure you've recorded some favorite episodes as well. Can you maybe just go through a few with us? And I'm sure the audience would love to hear those, and go out there and try and find it on your links as well.
Absolutely. So the great thing about the stories, though, is we share all different kinds. And, one episode might resonate with you more because adoption is close to your heart, where another one maybe won't. But I definitely think that it's for everybody because the stories are so diverse. But a couple of my favorite is one that, I mentioned it earlier, Russ, the founder of Little Bricks Charity. Cashed in his 401k and has been building this charity, and he donates Lego sets to medically complex children. And so that's one. Another one is Jill. She's actually one of my good friends, and she's got an amazing backstory. She was a pregnant teen, ended up marrying the guy. They're still together almost 25 years later, which is very uncommon. They've got 4 kids. They adopted the 4th, and they were literally on the brink of divorce. A lot of people say, because a lot of people will add a kid to their family thinking that it helps their marriage, but it just adds more stress, right? Usually. But Jill listened to her heart, and her heart said, you need to adopt this boy and bring him into your family. And even though right there on divorce, and they did that, and because she listened to her heart, or the universe or God or whatever, you want to call it, it actually did the opposite. It actually helped heal her marriage.
Wow.
So definitely not advocating to go adopt, but I think what I do advocate for is we all have an internal compass. And when you can learn to listen to it, that internal compass is there to guide you through life. So maybe what doesn't logically make sense, when you listen to the internal compass, honestly, Nolan, I've never been led astray. Never once. Even when the decision that I chose went against all logic or experts' advice. So I love that. There's another one, Elizabeth. She was sex trafficked for 10 years in the US. And she got out and got herself together and went to school and got a degree, got a job, and started a nonprofit helping other women who get out of sex trafficking to enter them back into the world. And she was just named Woman of Sonoma County of 2022. Like, amazing. So when I tell you that, because some of these are Love What Matters stories, some are stories that I just find from a different platform, but most of them are from Love What Matters. So I said they share hard stories. these stories are real and raw, and they're just so hard to hear. But look at how they're all ending, because these people choose to not develop the victim mindset and to turn this hard situation into something good. There was one with Jessica. This is more on a smaller scale. And when I say smaller, I don't mean the impact. I just mean that was free, right? Jessica went to Trader Joe's. She was a mom, young baby. She was struggling. And she goes to her car, and some of her groceries just fall all over the pavement. And she's stressing out. And the lady who helped her to her car said, just get the kids in the car. I'll go replace everything, and I'll bring it back out. How simple. Most of us would say, well, she was just doing her job. Yeah. But that small moment was so pivotal for Jessica on so many levels for so many reasons. Just by Beth at Trader Joe's being helpful in the moment that she really needed it. And then I'll share one more. Sarah was a young mom going through a lot of stuff. I think it was her second child she was pregnant with. She was struggling. And one of her nurses could just see that this young woman is just struggling. And she asked, how are you doing? Not in the way that like you ask just to be kind, or just not be kind, but just because you think it's nice, or you just say, hey, how are you doing? And you really don't want to hear the response, right? She really cared and just said, how are you doing? And Sarah just started bawling. She broke down, and she's like, Tracy, I never cry. But she could tell. And she just talked to her. And this nurse just said all these wonderful things to her and encouraged her and told her how amazing she was. And that nurse actually saved her child's life, because there was a few complications, right? So not only did the nurse help save her son's life, but the nurse helped save Sarah's life down the road when things got really hard for Sarah again. And Sarah was contemplating committing suicide. Mm-hmm. And when she was thinking about, I could do it, I don't have my kids, I'm alone, I've got this medication, and I could be out of pain, right? She remembered the words that this nurse said to her. Free, didn't cost her anything. But because she slowed down and could see that someone else was struggling and in pain, she was able to have this dialogue. And Sarah remembered those words and chose not to go through with it. And she is in nursing school and has a relationship with this nurse, and they always see each other. So these are just some of the stories that we share.
Wow. I love these stories. Every single one of them is so unique and has such a special meaning to it. And, you know, you ended off with speaking about the suicide as well. You and I don't know what's going through other people's minds, but just being kind in that moment to that person can actually change the person's mind from whatever negative thought they're thinking about, be it suicide or whatever it is at that moment, right? So it's so important that, you know, even if you see a person down or if their head is down or so, greet them, just be kind, just be normal. You know, to all the listeners out there, just be normal and be happy with someone else. You never know what that person is wanting to hear. Even if it's a simple hello, how are you doing today? It costs nothing, right, Tracy? You've said it so many times as well. So I love
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, you know, because there are people, and I think we need to just clear up that the reason people are mean or spread hate, it's because they're struggling themselves, right? They've got so much going on and they're projecting that to the world. Does it make it okay? No, it doesn't excuse their actions. You can't excuse those actions. But I think when we have understanding behind why these people are mean, then it helps us, the people who are on the receiving end, to understand, oh, this actually has nothing to do with me. This isn't even about me. It's all about that person and what they're going through. And I know it's so easy and it's human to want to respond in the same way of the treatment that we received. But if we can just take a deep breath and slow down and understand it, just that understanding alone, Nolan, that has helped me, like, okay, what they said to me, it hurt because I'm human, but however, that is a reflection of them, has nothing to do with me. And so I think we just need to understand that. And I think if we can understand that, then we can give kindness back to them. And how many, I mean, let's be honest, when we're being raunchy, because I can be raunchy to my husband and my kids, and when they return love and kindness to me, I'm like, ugh, okay, now you just made me feel bad for being raunchy to you. And it's hard. It's hard. You have to admit, it's hard to continue in that behavior. So imagine if all of us just took a moment, breathe, have the understanding it's not about us, and respond in love. What could even that do for the world, you know?
And I just want to add on that, Tracy, as well, that, you know, all of these people that are going through these kind of issues in life, I want them to know, if you are listening in today, just remember, whatever it is, you can fix that root cause within yourself. You can do some shadow work. You can do some work. So we're not saying that we want to ignore you completely, not at all. All we're saying is, you know what, let's work together and understand what you're going through. We all have shadows. We all have shadow work to be done. The only reason why we're in this state that we are in now is because we chose to work on it. And you can also choose to work on that as well, right? And get out of it.
Absolutely.
To reach out. Just remember, it's safe to talk to people. Don't feel left out, or don't think that there's something wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with anyone.
There's absolutely. And like you said, we all have dark sides or shadows, and we all go through things. I think it's the ego that holds us back though, right? How easy is it actually to reach out to somebody that you know has had the same struggle, but is moved on, to say, hey, I'm struggling with this. Do you have any advice for me? But I think it's that ego that says, I don't want to tell them. I'm not going to. And also when we're struggling, we tend to want to isolate ourselves, and we think we're the only one going through that. I don't know if this number is correct, but someone told me the other day there's 8 billion people on the world. And you're telling me, if that number is correct, if there's 8 billion people on this planet, you're the only one who has gone through that? No, there's support groups out there with thousands of people. And I don't know about you, but when people come to me and ask me advice on things, struggles that I've gone through, because they know, because I'm so open about the things that I've gone through, I'm not thinking of it with like judging thoughts. I just feel so much like, I'm like, oh my gosh, you actually want to come to me, and I want to help them. People want to help, and it makes people feel good when you seek advice. Side note, please never seek advice from someone who is not living the life you want, who does not have the marriage you want, who does not have the business you want, who just, you know, you really do need to seek advice from someone who is at least a step or two ahead of you in that thing that you're struggling with.
Absolutely. Well said. And I can also say with that 8 billion, I would say 7.5 billion of those people have been through all of these struggles, have been through all of these hardships, etc. Because we know in the world there's just a small percentage that think that they haven't been through issues or don't have issues, right? But everyone, even the richest of people, have the most issues. So everyone goes through issues in life. Life is not meant to be perfect. God didn't make us to be perfect. God made us, brought us onto this earth to go through all these challenges, all these obstacles in life to become better humans. That's what I would think always, just to become better. Wow, well said. I like what you just said there. Now, with Rock Your Kindness, with your brand as well, right? I know you started up journals and children's book as well. Tell us a bit more about that. I'm sure there's someone in the audience that would love to hear, or many of them in the audience.
Yeah, so the children's book is still under works. That takes a little bit longer, but I just love Rock Your Kindness. And so I'm like, I want to expand it into digital products. And I don't know if your viewers will see it or if this is just audible, but, I have like a Rock Your Gratitude journal, and it's to increase your personal happiness. I think we can agree that when we're grateful, we feel happier. It's not we're happy and then we're grateful. It's we're grateful, then we're happy, right? And so it will increase that. And I have one, Rock Your Courage, that will increase confidence, courage, and strength. And then, of course, I do have the Rock Your Kindness one that will increase optimism and gratitude and happiness. And I think I have a coloring book, and it's called Rock Your Kindness. And literally every page is like rock your goals, rock your forgiveness, rock your gratitude, rock your self-love. And they're really cute coloring pages for, teen girls or even adults. And I do have more coloring books. And the really cool thing that I love that I'm doing with the coloring books is for every coloring book purchased, I am donating one to a child with cancer because one that I have been there. And if you think about cancer patients, children, a lot of them can spend a lot of time in their hospital room, in bed, just depending on what type of cancer and stuff. And so I remember I was so sick, I was always in bed and bored out of my mind. And so I thought, what is something that I could do to give back to people who were in the situation I once was, that are in bed a lot? Coloring. And honestly, coloring is very therapeutic. And so I just have a cute little, note on the back of my journal for people and talking about the benefits of coloring, that it relieves stress, it calms the brain, it relaxes the body, improves sleep and fatigue, and it decreases body aches, heart rate, and feelings of depression and anxiety, all things that people who are dealing with cancer usually feel and experience. Now, of course, all things all of us can go through, but especially those who are going through health issues or stuff with cancer. And so those are just some things that, I've been thinking about. I've always wanted to give back to the cancer community. And so that is one way to do it. And then how can I just give back to people in general? Okay. What about some journals, and what about to the younger crowd? So the book is called Rock Your Kindness, and it will be a children's book. So, and then even with my book Up Struggle, you and I kind of talk on the same topic, obstacle, struggle. It's all the same. We just use different words. I'm actually redoing the entire cover of it, and then we'll relaunch it soon.
Wow. Wow, well done on that. And also with the children's book as well, right? A lot of the kindness thing has to start with the children. And as parents, it's our responsibility to make sure that we teach our children how to be kind. Now, we both will agree that many parents out there don't teach their children this, right? And it's not because they don't know. It's not because they don't want to. It's because they were not taught as well. So it got to start from some level and start teaching our kids how to be kind, and especially kind to each other, across races, across sexes, across religions, because that's where it needs to start. We are all humans at the end of the day. We're just a mixture of different people all together. But at the end of the day, call us humans, because that's exactly what we are, right?
Yeah, I bleed red. You bleed red. And I love what you said was, I really do think that kindness starts in the home.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I do think that it is hard for children to go and be kind to their classmates when there's just not kindness, does not live in the home. And, when you said that it's not that parents don't want to be, they just don't know. And I agree with that. But again, that's not an excuse to not change and do better. Right. And something I tell myself, like, let's say, you were abused in your home. Yes. Or people can go on with that same cycle. Or you can say, you know what? I didn't like that my parents abused me growing up. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's work that has to be done. You need therapy, and there is work that has to be done, but you can also choose to break the cycle. And when you don't break the cycle, that's a choice.
Yeah. I think we really need to teach people how to make choices, how to make good choices in life, right? And these choices can be with anything. I speak specifically about the country that I'm in South Africa as well. We have so many people making bad choices, especially when it comes to the voting time. And then we sit with a whole lot of problems, and people wonder, why are we sitting with these problems? Yet they made the decision or the choice at the time to kind of go and vote for a certain party. So yeah, people do have an opportunity to do this. Tracy, thank you so much for speaking to us about Rock Your Kindness. I really enjoyed this. And, to the listeners out there, go out and rock your kindness. Any last tips you want to share with the listeners, and also how can they get in touch with you? I know I am going to share your contact details to our listeners. I'm going to put it in the text as well for them. But if you can just give us some last pointers to take home, and how can they easily get in touch with you as well?
Yeah, I would just say, just remember that kindness really does start with self. And just because you're not doing it currently doesn't mean you can't make the choice to do it. Not knowing how to do something is no longer an excuse in a world that we can learn anything. And let's say you're in a part of a country where you don't have access to the internet. What about a library? Those are free. I think that there's excuses. We have to learn to stop making excuses and start making better choices. I can't tell you how many things I've learned from the internet, and I've self-taught myself, and just know that if something doesn't feel good, that is a signal to change it. right? Set ego aside. If you're like, man, I'm always like snapping at everybody, I'm always the person leaving hateful comments on social media, step back and say, does that feel good? Was that adding value, or was I taking value out of the world? Man, I need to start working on myself. And when we start working on ourselves, it's amazing the things that we can go on to do. So I would just say, if we're going to be kinder in this world, start with yourself, because you can't give what you don't have. And to connect with me, I'm really all over everywhere. I am on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I am on Facebook, but currently I am spending a little bit more time on Facebook, because on TikTok, you can't, throw up photos and write, and write a post. And because at heart, I am a writer, I do like to share that. And so over there, I do share videos as well, but I also like to write stuff out and share stuff like that. I share, thought-provoking things and seeing things in different way, along with sharing my family. And I also respond to people over there. So I would say, if you want to connect with me, probably one of the best ways will be through Facebook right now.
Cool, thank you. And you can just look for Tracy Farron.
Oh, yeah, and everything will pop up.
And it should pop up. Okay, and even if you go onto Google, you can actually do that. The University of Google that we all use to improve ourselves.
Yes.
So you can go on there. So thank you so much, Tracy, for coming on the show today. I really enjoyed spending some time with you as well. To all our listeners out there, we are going to be sharing this on YouTube, and also the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. So be sure to tune in. On YouTube, what we would appreciate is if you can go in and put in your comments once the video is launched. There's also a bell on the right-hand side to subscribe. Click on that and subscribe to our channel so that you can get access to all our releases as they come about as well. So please leave your comments, and I'm sure some of your friends or family will resonate with this podcast interview today as well. And remember, it's all about rocking your kindness. Thank you once again to listening to Inspirational Journeys Through Life with your host, Straight Talk with Nolan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tracy. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.